Well, hello, from this cartoony animator to you cartoony animators. Today I have a really fun class prepared for you. It involves one of my favorite topics when it comes to cartoony animation. We're going to be talking about tricks that are usually reserved for 2D hand-drawn animation. And today I'm going to show you these tricks in both 2D and CG. So here I've set up a 2D shot of a character who wants to try and break these boards with his head. And I've already done the keyframes as well as some of the in-betweens leading up to the smear frames. This is an exercise pretty much about smears, so I didn't want to have to walk you through the entire animation. I just wanted to show you how I would do the smears. So as you can see here, he's standing there looking at the boards, and then he anticipates back, and then I've left some frames blank here where he's gonna where the really fast motion happens. He smashes his face on the boards, and then all of a sudden he recovers and he's completely knocked out because he clearly was not strong enough to break the boards with his head. So as you can see, it's a pretty slow action here, so there would be no reason to use smear frames. And then as soon as he starts to go back down, obviously the fastest part of the motion is going to be when he's quickly slamming his face into the boards. So what I've done here is I left 3 frames. I think it would take 3 frames to get his face down to the boards. I want this to be a very fast action, so I'll probably have 1 frame of an ease into the action, and then I left 1 frame to do the smear, because again, it's the fastest part. So you can see his head is up here, and then the next keyframe is all the way down here, without any breakdowns in between. So I'm just going to do one frame of him coming out of this up pose. And I actually might, you know what, I'm actually going to make him almost anticipate up before he goes down, so to get that arc going a little stronger. Torso is starting to move forward. Actually, you know what? I'm going to rotate this head back a little bit just so it looks like his head is dragging a little bit more. And then I'm going to actually lead with his torso. So his chest is going to sort of puff out here a little bit more and drag the body. And his arms are still back. So as you can see, he eases in for those 2 frames. I'm actually going to make him, like I said, his nose is going to angle back like he's dragging his head. And then, so that's going to be for 2 frames. And then here comes the smear frame. Now, I want you to watch this. Look. There's only 1 frame between these 2. There's the high point and the low point. If I just let that play the way it was, it would strobe. It would look like it went from this position up here all the way down to there over 1 frame, and it wouldn't feel right. It feels like there's a lot more that has to happen. So this is where I would do the smear. And I'm going to follow this arc here, that you can see the natural arc of this action would be like this. And what I might do here is I'm going to show that his face is dragging back, so his head's going to actually be up. And let's do this where his face is actually dragging all this way. So this is going to be his face. And this smear, his nose might smear. His nose would smear the whole way. As well, following that same arc, his teeth in the position they were in. And even his eyebrows So see, this is clearly off model. This would never happen, and his headband would still be staying behind. Now, so you can see that is way off model, but you can see what the arc's going to be, right? And so, going back to the other part of the shot, you still have to draw his neck. So you might, let's see, what would his chest be doing? His chest goes from there to all the way down there as well. And he was leading with his chest. So let's say his chest is bending all the way over as well. And so this is actually leading. So here's his chest and his neck. And his neck would just sort of blend into the head to show which way it was going. And his arms, because the arms aren't that big of a change, I probably wouldn't smear the arms. I would just do an in-between. So let's drag the elbows back to pretty much where they were already, just to continue that action. And same thing here. So now, once I get rid of this arc line that I drew, because I won't need that, that's not going to be in the final thing. Now there's going to be one frame of smear to get you there. Oh, I forgot his ears. And also, he actually has a bandana that I didn't draw either. So his bandana would be trailing from there, and so it would probably still be trailing from that same position. I'm not going to necessarily make that. So now here's on this frame, on this keyframe, just make sure that bandana stretches. So now when you see it, that's going to be a really fast action. And then on the way up, it has one in between before it pops up here. Now, any fast action that I've done, usually for the really strong impact, I'll actually hold that frame for 2 frames, on 2D animation anyway. And then, so on his way back up, I'm going to just have a frame. I'm not going to have him peel off the table because I want it to feel really hard, and if it peels off, it'll make it feel a little softer. So I'm just going to have him do a straight in between these 2 poses. And it might actually be a bit of squash the other way. So here's his head, and so I actually might sort of almost like his head is still flattened. And then it starts coming up. But actually I'm going to move this over because this arc would actually be a little wider. And then his body goes back to pretty much the same position. And his elbows start to go down as they uncurl. Now, his bandana actually would still also be trailing down as well. And then on these in-betweens, I didn't actually draw the bandana yet, so I'll just do that. So now, as you can see, it's going to be a really fast action, but it'll make the action cell clearer because I've got that arc all going over one frame. So let's take a look.